Hello, critics, non-critics, and friends. Welcome to the Film Optix podcast, where we take a glance into comic book movies, blockbusters, indie films, and everything in between. I'm your host, Christian, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Devin. And today, we're going to be reviewing episode 3 of Moon Knight, which is titled The Friendly Type, that is now streaming on Disney+. So we're halfway through this series. Technically, I've already been more than halfway through this series before day one, but but you know, we're here, and you know, we're just gonna it's another interesting week. That's for sure. But before we begin today's episode, you can listen to our podcast on platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, and more. And if you are a new or seasoned listener to the show, we would love to hear from you guys. Follow us on Instagram and follow us on Twitter at FilmOptix. That is Optix with an X, or email us at filmoptix@gmail.com for any movie-related questions. Devin, how you doing, man? You playing some Halo Infinite? I see it's on sale there for $20. Huh?
Oh no, that's been forgotten.
Oh Lord, oh no,
long forgotten. In these parts,
I gotta say, I mean, I know it's on Game Pass. I don't have Game Pass yet. I had it for a while, but I'm waiting for like either a yearly plan or a family plan. You know, join up with some buddies. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Get that nice little Game Pass subscription going for a while, because it's definitely needed. But I did pick it up for the story. I feel like $20 would be fine. For what it is on sale for. I believe it's still on sale as of this recording. $60, way too much for a first person single campaign about Master Chief there. But how have you been, man? How's your week been? What are you watching? What are you playing? What have you been doing this week?
Well, speaking of Master Chief, the newest episode, we got to see some Chief cheeks. He stripped down all the way.
Oh, did he really? I got to catch up. I need to for the podcast. I just haven't done it yet. I've been distracted with so many things. Honestly, just trying to get through this Star Wars rewatch. I got 2 more left. Finished Star Wars, a Clone Wars animated series, or not the series, excuse me, the feature-length film that launched into the animated series yesterday. So I have Solo and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And then that'll be it. I feel like after that, I should be able to plow through and get through the rest of the new Halo adventure.
I've been playing the Lego Skywalker saga. It's so fun. There's so much to do. I'm still only in the New Hope. 8 more movies to go.
Ooh, boy, oh boy, that's a lot. And you got the Mando stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's it for me. Also, I've been I'm a, you know, Devin, I'm a big anime guy, so I've been trying to play catch up on Attack on Titan. I've seen the first like maybe season and a half like ages ago, so I'm like rewatching it from the beginning. I'm a dub whore. I'm sorry guys. It's just I'm a dub supporter, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to blow through the story. If I wanted to, you know, sit there and smell the roses, I would have been watching it as it came out. But right now, I'm just trying to get caught up to everybody else, because it looks very interesting, and I've always been interested to see where the story is going to go. But enough of that. We're going to be talking about Moon Knight episode 3 here today. So, Devin, are you ready to jump on into this review, this coverage, this?
We're going to Egypt.
This analysis. Yes, we are going to Egypt. So we'll be right back after this introduction to Moon Knight episode 3.
I'm losing it.
We'll catch you on. You're bloody useless, Stevie.
Stephen. I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with our Moon Knight episode 3 review. Again, that is titled The Friendly Type, that is now streaming on Disney+. Before we begin, we do apologize. This might be a bit of a shorter episode because we are pressed for time today. But we're going to get into the weeds here. We're going to talk about our initial reactions, our spoilers, our few Easter eggs that we saw throughout this episode, our final thoughts, and getting into our ratings. So I'm going to pass it right on over to Devin so he can give his initial reactions about Moon Knight episode 3.
Yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying quickly, rest in peace to Gaspard Ulliel. He made his debut in this episode as a character named Anton Mogart, who apparently later turns into Midnight Man, who is a character in the Moon Knight comics. Mm-hmm. And he had a nice scene in this one. He had a good screen presence going on. Mm-hmm. Sad that he ended up passing away. I think it was a ski accident. I remember hearing about it. But yeah, other than his great debut, I'm glad they kept that in, by the way. I know it's probably difficult for the writers having to kind of work around that, but I'm glad they kept his parts in. It was great to jump to Egypt. Nice to change settings and scenery for a bit. Went from London to Egypt, and now we're in the Great Pyramid hanging out. There's a lot of great action in this one. The rooftop chase scene, and then later on at the, I don't know what you'd call it, like a ranch. It looked like a circus, that place where they met him. But yeah, there was a great action scene in that open field, and I love that we're getting some more mystery and intrigue introduced into the series, because we're not quite sure how many identities he actually has, because there's possibly a new one that's been introduced that we don't know the name of yet.
For me, I've seen this episode 3 times. I have to say this is probably. It's not that it's not a good episode. I think it's like the weakest out of what I've seen, especially from episode 4, that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. But from what we've seen from episodes 1 through 3, I did enjoy this. The mystery does go a little bit deeper because, like Devin said, there is this lure of a third identity in the mix that they may not know about. So that's been on a lot of people's theories, which I'm sure there's going to be a third one, because, if Steven and Mark aren't remembering what's going on, then, who else is taking over this body? And I got to say, I really liked, the trial scene in this episode. Like Devin said, there's a lot of action as well. I feel like it does push the story forward a bit. But I feel like with episode 4 is really going to make people question a lot of things. But as far as episode 3 goes, I do love the action. It's more of like a globe-trotting adventure. Like Evan said, we are finally in Egypt. And, we see these characters. We actually get to see where Mark's wife, played by Calamawy, where she's from, because she's actually from Egypt, and her mom's a bit of a passport. There we go.
Is that her mom? I don't know if it was.
I thought it was because they were talking about her father.
Yeah, I think it's just some friend of hers.
But I thought that was her.
She's
mother.
uncredited.
Oh, she's uncredited. Okay, I thought that was her mother for some reason. Yeah, she's a master at the passports there. So I was like,
under the credits, she's just called Forger.
The forger of the passports. Hey, honestly, we could all use somebody like that right now. She made that passport in like near minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the opening also brings in some more mystery to Layla's backstory, which is good to get her more developed.
Yeah, definitely Layla's backstory. She's probably, outside of Oscar Isaac, I really do enjoy her, but I'm really liking everyone's performance in this episode, especially Ethan Hawke. When it comes to the trial scene, which is actually really, really cool. Kind of a little odd for Mark, but we'll get into that here in a bit.
Oscar Isaac killed it this episode with the different accent changes and the Khonshu takeover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Khonshu takeover is probably my favorite, but overall, like just to kind of end my initial reactions, I like it. I really like this episode, and it's a bit of a cliffhanger from this towards the end of this episode here, and it leaves you with more questions and whatnot, but it does push the story forward. I thought we would at least maybe see Ahmed by now, but it looks like we might have to wait a little bit longer. I'm wondering if they will show up later on in the series, but we'll just have to see. I'm more curious to see what Ahmed actually looks like and how Ethan Hawke's character is going to be exposed for what he's doing. Such like a caring, like he's so suave, but he's so evil at the same time.
And he did Mark so dirty at the trial, just using his mental disorder against him.
It's like, I thought you were all about keeping the peace. You have this utopia or this cult. People watch National Geographic all day long. Nobody, there's no crime. Everyone speaks Mandarin Chinese. I'm like, what is
apparently very poorly, according to Simu Liu.
I guess. Oh, did he comment on that?
Yeah, he tweeted, he was like, someone needs to get Arthur Harrow a better Mandarin teacher.
Well, hey, no questions here. None whatsoever. But yeah, just overall, I think it is a really good episode. This might be one of the weaker ones, probably just because of what happens kind of like midway through. Like, it was interesting, but I just had a few questions, but we'll get into that when we get into spoilers. But was there anything else you wanted to bring up before we get into our spoiler section here?
Yeah, I'd say it's a stronger episode for me overall out of the three that I've seen, but I just like the buildup that we're seeing here from episode to episode, just getting more information as we go.
I think I'm just super impatient and I'm waiting for people to talk about episode 4. That may be the reason why. That might be the reason why I'm like, okay, like, yeah, it's good, but I'm like, man, like I've been sitting on episode 4 for so long, so it's been a ride. So let's get into our spoiler section here. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen Moon Knight episode 3, that is your second spoiler warning, and you should turn back now because we're gonna talk about everything. There's things to spoil here. So, Devin, what are your thoughts about Khonshu being turned to stone? Because the gods did say if you mess with this guy again. That was a pretty awesome sequence, by the way.
It looked so cool. And we don't even know exactly what happened. Did he like turn back time? Was he rotating the earth? Was he just moving stars around? He sacrificed himself, kind of.
Everyone gets younger and younger. Wait, can't you?
Is this going to be an epic scene? Like, what they call it? Crowd pleasing scene, like the Flash.
No. We're done talking about this year's Oscars, like forever. Unless it has anything to do with Coda, we're done. Oh my gosh. Oh, that crowd. It to this day just blows my mind. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, it was great. Just cool seeing something so visually stunning.
It really seemed like he's obviously like manipulating the sky, and after they get the constellations as to where Ahmed's tomb is. I love it how the exchange where he's like, oh, like stars. What was it? We finally get Steven back for a bit because Mark surrenders the body over to Steven so that he can put the constellations together. And I love it how, when Steven's saying, oh, stars kind of drift over time. And then Khonshu is like, I remember that night. I remember every night. I was like, oh, good for you, Khonshu.
That switch when Oscar Isaac went from Mark to Steven, and you saw it like visually, even on his face. Like, that's so good.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell as soon as it happened.
That was awesome. I love how there's this battle between them. Like, they're complete opposites, but I wonder who is the real identity, or if there isn't.
Well, Mark said he had it under control for a while until recently. So I'm guessing Mark has been the main one, and then now he's having issues controlling it. Yeah,
Steven and whoever else out there is lurking in the shadows. That it's very, very interesting there. But yeah, I really like Layla's character. We kind of get more into a little bit of their backstory with Mark and Layla's relationship. And I always just thought that was just more of like a beautiful thing, just to kind of give us a little bit more context as to why
she's giving me some Lara Croft vibes.
I would love to see her at like Lara Croft, maybe like not like a Lara Croft adventure like on movies, because we've seen that for a while. I want like a high budget TV show with her as like Lara Croft would be really, really awesome. I mean, this really kind of is like an Indiana Jones Uncharted adventure in a way.
Yeah,
but
they have a big inspiration from Indiana Jones.
yeah, I haven't seen those movies in a while. Yeah, it's been ages. But yeah, so there's that. And then, of course, towards the end, actually, I wanted to ask you for the trial scene, like, what did you think about the other avatars that we finally were able to see? Not the gods themselves, because, I mean, why would you?
Yeah, we don't learn too much about them. It seems like there were a few of them that were actually missing from the trial, but maybe we'll see them later. I do like how one of them kind of took Mark to the side and kind of looked out for him. She was the avatar for like the goddess of like melody, I think it was.
Yeah. And that Conchi used to enjoy her melodic tunes.
Yeah, I wonder what they did together.
Oh, I don't know. A little lost love.
Conchi is a nice looking
God.
bird guy. I like how Steven called him a pigeon.
He does kind of look like a pigeon. I mean, that his head does. He looks like he's a nice little deity there. Got some action going on. But I wonder if that is his full like spirit, or like, since he has like a skull for a head, I wonder if I don't know if that's like his actual like face. I guess he would be a pigeon, kind of, sort of, but he kind of just lurks there here and about. But Khonshu does get turned into stone, and it seems that Ethan Hawke's character, obviously him being Khonshu's previous avatar, and we know what the plans are for Layla. It seems, I wonder how long Khonshu was Ethan Hawke's. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on Ethan Hawke's character right now. The name of his character,
Arthur Harrow.
Arthur, that's right, Arthur Harrow. Yeah, I wonder how long Arthur and Khonshu were together, like doing the deeds, and what made them split, or what was like the final deal between them. I don't know. It always seems very, very interesting, but I don't know.
It seems like there's going to be some kind of flashback where they go back to where they were at the pyramid with Layla and her father and Mark, and something happens bad.
Definitely. Like I said, this episode, like, it's around 50 minutes. Like, it seems that a lot happens, but in retrospect, it doesn't seem like a lot happens at the same time. So that's kind of I think that's the biggest drawback for me, is that I feel like there isn't too much to talk about with this episode, but of course, new Rockstar, they pump out like they pump out videos all the time. I'm like, how do you
They're so good.
How do you like hone in on all of these different little things that you see? And I'm like, it's crazy. But not too many Easter eggs from us, because I mean, this is our first time actually being introduced to Moon Knight as a character. But I do enjoy where the story is going, because it does leave us on a pretty interesting cliffhanger. Are they going to visit Khonshu at the very end? And I forgot what he says, but it's kind of I guess, like his final goodbye. But apparently Mark is...
You led me to this. This is your fault.
That's right. Thank you, Devin. And then apparently Mark is supposed to free Khonshu at some point. So I believe where they left off is when Mark is unconscious, or Steven. The body is unconscious.
Yeah, it's the one issue I was going to bring up. Going back to the first episode, I was kind of worried that they would keep doing this identity switch, and we wouldn't see what happened between that time. And they just keep kind of doing it. It's kind of annoying, because it seems like cool things happen during that time, and we don't get to see it.
Maybe we'll see it in the future. You never know. I don't know. It's interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Foreshadowing, Devin. Foreshadowing. No. Yeah, definitely. But let's get into our final thoughts and our ratings here. I'll go for my final thoughts really quick. Like I said before, I think this is a good episode, not like the best that we have, but it does push the story forward, which is what really saves it for me. I'm very interested to see maybe what this third identity is that is lurking, because they're definitely alluding to that for sure. And yeah, I'm just ready to talk about some episode 4. I've been sitting on this for 4 weeks, It's very difficult. Not difficult, but it's just kind of annoying. I'm only able to talk about it with like specific people. So I'll be coming back next week with some clip notes. So I'm very, very excited for that. But for the rating for this episode, I mean, I would give it a solid, probably like 7.5 out of 10. It pushes the story forward. Like, it's a good episode, just not one I would necessarily remember outside of that amazing, this moving the sky scene, because we don't know, like Devin said, if he's like turning back time or if he's just like rearranging. Is it sky magic? I really don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much my 2 cents. Devin, what about you?
Yeah, I'd give it a solid like 85. Just a solid episode. Gave us a lot of good character development and pushed the story forward.
All right, so that is an 85 from Devin and a 7.5 out of 10 for me. So I guess I'll just say 75%, which is rare because I usually my scores are higher than Devin's, but it is what it is. But that pretty much concludes our episode of Moon Knight episode 3, again titled The Friendly Type. We do apologize. It's more of a shorter episode for this week, so we just have a few other things we have to get to here today. Time crunching here. Time's a wasting, I guess you could say. All right, so what is coming up in the show, you may ask, or what's already out on our podcast? Well, if you haven't moseyed through our episode list, we have our Everything Everywhere All at Once review that is out now, as well as our Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Morbius review that is out on the podcast now on podcast platforms around the internet, as well as, my gosh, I think this is like our 26th or 25th episode of this year. We've been covering through the Hunger Games. Definitely have that to check out. Some Scream action we have out on the podcast. What else did we review this year so far? My God, it feels... Oh yeah, Jackass Forever. That was a pretty fun one for sure. It's so, everything starts to kind of just piles together as you may think. But also we covered Turning Red, so that's also another fun one for people to check out, just to give you guys a little taste of what's here on our podcast and what we've covered so far. But what's coming up on the podcast, you may ask? We have our Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 episode that will be coming out here shortly. We're going to be ending out that trilogy, sadly, but all good things must come to an end, as well as our, what is the Nick Cage movie? What is it called again? Massive Talent?
Undeniable. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So yeah, that is going to be coming up on the podcast for you guys here soon. Definitely just follow us on Twitter to see when those episodes are going to be released. So the only thing we ask of you guys before we close out is for you to share this episode with a friend, whether it be your mother, your brother, your lover, whoever it may be. Share an episode of the Film Optix podcast with a movie lover in need. And with that said, we hope you guys have a great Easter weekend for those of you who celebrate Easter out there. And we'll see you guys in the next one. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you all for listening. And if you enjoy the show, leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay in the know. That was Devin. My name is Christian. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.